What's up, my name is Nasko, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to make huge buildups. Now, I've prepared something right here, and we're going to be using this as an example to make a buildup. And this doesn't just apply to this sort of genre, you can use it in other genres as well, but there's some core elements that sort of just exist for every single genre, at least the ones that have buildups. And so this is what I've got right here. I've got the intro part and the drop part. This is what it sounds like. So that's the intro, and this is going to be the drop. Right, so this is obviously made out of samples and only for demonstration purposes. So let's go ahead and make a build-up for this. Now, usually what I would start with is, first of all, just setting the drums. Like, thinking about, okay, where do I want my drums? So I've got the snare and this kick, so I'm going to use the kick and I'm going to put this down here, over here first. And I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to imagine a build-up, basically. And then I'm going to be like, boom, boom, boom. Even faster, going even faster. And then I think I'm going to use a snare, just as the sort of pre-drop thing. So you start off with a kick, and we can even use the same melody. The thing is, with the build-up, what you want to do is you always want to still have elements from the intro instead of the build-up, but just not as many, obviously. And you will sometimes, even especially in dubstep, what you want to do is you want to already sort of tease what kind of sounds you can expect in the drop. So what we can do right now is record the drop. So we're going to go to Edison, and we're going to solo out the drop. So we're going to turn off the fruity balance. That's the growl. All right, great. So let's just record that with Edison real quick. So we've got some material we can use in the build-up. Great. Now, obviously, usually your drops will be much longer and there will be a lot more content in here. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to be using this part. Okay, so what we can do now is we can use this in our pre-drop, in our build-up. So we can put it in here. And then what we can do is we can, first of all, cut out the lows. You don't want, usually in the build-ups, you don't want any low frequencies going on. Obviously, you will have the ones from the kick, but you don't want that many low frequencies going on so that the drop hits harder because of the sub. So we're going to add this bass, then we're going to add a lot of reverb, actually, a lot of decay as well. And what we're going to do here is we're going to right-click, create an automation clip for the wet and the dry knob, and I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to select all of this part, right-click the wet knob, right-click the dry knob. And we're sort of going to do a transition. It's going to go down, and this one is going to go up. Great. Now let's add a filter. So I'm going to use the fruity filter. I'm going to turn off the resonance. I'm going to use this kind of frequency right here. So we're going to go right-click and create an automation clip. And we're going to filter it in. Not from 0, though. Also make it a bit quieter so we can automate the volume. So this is just one of the steps you can do. There's so many possibilities instead of build-ups you can do. But for this sake, we're going to be using this. And then for this build-up right here, we're also going to be using a filter. So let's take off that high pass and the resonance. Yeah, a bit of resonance. It's an automation clip right there. And it goes back up again as well. And then what's really important in build-ups is that you repeat stuff. Basically, what's going to happen is that you will maybe hear a vocal, and that vocal starts to repeat a certain part, and that gets pitched up more and more and more. So we're going to do the same thing right here. So we're going to have this beginning part repeat itself. And then it's going to be faster and faster. So I'm going to do it like that. So now we've just repeated the melody. And what else we can do is actually pitch bend this as well. So we're going to automate the pitch bend of these two leads I had layered. So let me just do that real quick. Have them the same pitch bend, obviously. And there we go. So I'm just going to pitch that up like that. And I'm going to put it back to 50% after that. Just like this. Great. All right, so now it sounds like this. Let's do a little bit of a stronger filter right here. Now, there are a lot of things you can do to easily get a lot of tension going on, and that is using FX. We are going to be using an uplifter on both for the intro to transition to the build-up, and then for the build-up itself. So let me just load up some noises. You can use this one, for example. So what you can do in FL is once you have these samples on here, you can use the in and out knobs, especially for transition effects. It's really nice to have that feature. So let's do that. And let's use a down lifter, like this one. Let's also make sure that these are being sidechained as well. So just send them to a channel, and we're done. All right, now let's use a riser. For example, this one, we can use a bunch of risers actually. So it's really just your choice how many and what kind of risers you want to use. So I'm going to use these right here. Let's also use another uplifter. Let's just use the one from before. Also make sure that you're side chaining. That's very important, so that the kicks still have a lot of impact, even with so much going on. What you can also do is that in this very fast part, you maybe want a little bit of less sidechain because the kicks are just overpowering everything. So what you can do is you can shorten the automation if you're using sidechain automation, and you can hold Alt-click, and then drag and do that to make it shorter, and then we can duplicate that just like that. And then, as you can hear right now, there's some reverb going on. I think it's from this channel. So we want to make sure that's gone. So we're just going to go to the reverb, and we're going to do an automation clip for the mix of the reverb. All right. Let's do that as well. So we're going to go down. Then we can put it back in there. All right. So now what else we can use is, and Cymatics provides a lot of these, are build-up drums, or basically loops. And these are really great because they save you a lot of time. These are very well handcrafted, and a lot of artists that have made these have really put a lot of effort into it. So I would really recommend you to actually use these because they're a big time saver and they really help out a lot. So let's use this one. And I also want to add some claps. Obviously, in a lot of buildups, you can hear some claps, so you can use that as an element as well. So we're going to be doing that as well. All right, let's see. Drum one shoots, shots. You can use either real claps or you can use, obviously, synthesized claps. I'm going to try and some nice claps here. We can use this main clap right here. I think this has too much transient though, so we can go to the envelope section and we can turn on the envelope. That way we lose a bit of the transient, which is very nice because claps usually shouldn't have that much transient. At least not for this purpose. So let's just fill each 4 steps like that. So we have a nice sort of loop going on. And what else we can do is we can add background effects. For example, some crowd effect, and I know that Cymatics has one of them in their Jack U drums. It's in here, various. This one right here, so we can use that as well. We can stretch it to make it fit the rhythm. All right. So let's use this pattern and play it. All right, and another thing we can add is not only just the melodies from the intro, but also the harmonics. So we can, for example, copy the bass line of this chord progression and just try and make some lower bass or something. So I'm going to use one of these PWM shapes. Just made a little bit of a bass right here. Also, make sure that you copy over the sidechain for the other kicks as well. And make sure that none of your elements, at least most of your elements, shouldn't be clashing with the kicks. That's very important that that doesn't happen. So always make sure that you're sidechaining your stuff. What you don't have to sidechain though is claps, because those are supposed to sort of overlap with the kicks because they're only in the build-up section, so you don't have to do that. All right. Maybe let's start the build-up drums somewhere over here. All right, let's go to this build-up loop and let's get rid of the low frequencies. You can even do something like this, yeah. So there's many possibilities you can do when you do a build-up. You can filter stuff, you can use reverb, you can use volume automation, you can use pitching, you can really do a lot of stuff. This doesn't just apply to this genre, really at any genre. You can use the vocal sample, you can use anything and just start and pitch it and sort of give this tension. So let's start and automate this part right here. Just going to be automating. Perfect. All right, so we've gotten this so far. Also, I think we've actually turned off the sidechain. Right. Some other things are not playing. What's going on here? Oh, this is in the wrong channel. And for example, right here, we can do another pitching effect with this bass right here. So we can copy it over and we can go inside Serum and start also pitching this up. So we can pitch up a lot of the things inside your build-up and just create this huge tension. Let's just create an automation clip for that. And then for the pre-drop, you can really just be creative. You can use anything really. So you can, for example, use some pre-drop break fill. I'm going to be using one. I'm going to use this one right here. I'm going to also stretch this properly. All right. And I think for the pre-drop, we're just going to be using the melody. For now, we're going to copy over the melody to a new pattern. We're going to add a new Serum. And we're just going to paste the melody in here. Pitch it up 1 octave. Change it to square wave. And let's just put it right there. Maybe not like that. Maybe it should end on... I mean, really, at this point, you just have to kind of find out what fits and what doesn't fit. We could use a vocal shout, really anything you want. It's your choice. So yeah, we've created this from some of the elements from the intro, and we've added some other stuff. We always use downlifters, uplifters, especially white noise up and downs, because those give a lot of sort of dimension, and they're really nice for transitions as well. So yeah. So that's how you can make build-ups instead of FL Studio 12.